a new study in the Journal of Sexual Medicine indicates that watching porn doesn't necessarily lead to risky behavior. Now, this study was done by researchers at the University of Copenhagen, and they found no direct correlation between watching pornography and, risky sexual behavior. And it kind of goes against a lot of studies that we've talked about in the past, right? Pornography desensitizes you, it makes you want to do riskier stuff, but in this case, it's not necessarily true.
Yes, winning.
Now, let me give you the details on the study. The research took place in the Netherlands, okay, and the researchers spoke to 4,600 people between the ages of 15 to 25 that used porn in the previous 12 months. Now, 88% of males indicated that they had watched porn in the previous 12 months, and 45% of females.
So that's a high number for females, don't you think? I'm not surprised by the guys' number. In fact, it might be a little low. And those are the people who admitted watching pornography,
yes.
Right? So, but 45%, I remember when I was 15 to 25 years old, I mean, of course, we're from a totally different generation. That's why this story is interesting. I would be surprised if 4% of the women in that age bracket watched porn back then. Because remember, in order to get porn, when I was growing up as a kid, it was in the 1980s, you had to actually buy a magazine or you had to get a VHS, and it was super embarrassing to rent it at your local video store or to buy it. Where would you even buy it?
Yeah.
In the suburbs, almost no chance of buying it. And then put it in your TV in your family room and watch it. Which girl was going to do that, right? So now 45% of the girls are watching porn. That's a sea change.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually not that surprised about it. I think there's always been like this, I'm surprised that it's not higher, to be honest. I think there's always been like this misconception that women are like, ew, pornography, I don't like that, right? But it's not.
Just like that. Yeah.
But that's not the truth. Women are also sexual beings, obviously. I just recently read this column, I don't know, it was like a sex advice column, right? And this woman was writing in because she wanted to have more sex than her husband did, and they had a bit of a problem in their relationship because of it. So there are tons of women out there that are just as sexual, they want to have sex, they like the pornography, they masturbate, all of that stuff.
What? They even masturbate.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, of course, but there was not as much access in the past.
No, I get
that's
that.
a huge issue.
I think that's
Whereas,
a fair
like, if
point.
you could just click it online, all of a sudden you go, you know what? Interesting. Let me check that out.
Yeah, which is why I'm surprised that the number isn't higher.
And I don't believe that. I mean, did you grow up when there was the internet? Did you?
I did. I was in it was probably in 8th grade when we got a computer in my house. Yeah.
And did you before?
And we had dial-up and everything.
Oh, dial-up. So before 18, did you do a little checky check of the porny porn?
Yeah, I did. When we first got the internet, my mom's gonna hate this. When we first got the internet, remember chat rooms were a big deal. And I remember the first time I was really exposed to like online pornography was when I was in a chat room and some guy's like, "What's your age?" and like, whatever.
Oh,
and
this is already a disaster because you're like what, 14, 15 at the time or something?
I was very young. 8th grade is like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And I answered. I was like, "Oh, I am an 8th grader. Nice to meet you. Who are you?"
Oh, no, he didn't chat roulette you, did he?
No, he didn't. At that time, like, the internet wasn't fast enough for that kind of shenanigans. But anyway, and then he, like, sent me a link, and I clicked on it, and then I saw porn, and I was like, oh my God, like, are my parents gonna find out? Like, what is this? And it was so graphic. I remember how graphic it was, and then I learned what pornography was. So, as I mentioned, the study showed that, or it did not show a direct correlation between viewing porn and going out and attempting wild sex acts in real life. So think about it. How many guys, or women for that matter, watch porn and there's something that's particularly violent or abusive or whatever, and they think, I think I'm going to try that in my sex life. They might watch that because it's particularly titillating for them at that moment, but they're unlikely, according to this study, to go out and try it in their own sex lives.
Yeah, Anna's body motions are awesome. As she says titillating, she does this. Like, particularly titillating, Okay, so that's awesome. Now, look, when I was a kid and I watched porn, like when I went out in the street afterwards, like you would be in this like zone for like 5 minutes, like maybe it could work. Like maybe if like I just went up to a girl and I went boom, 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 boom. Like she'd want to have sex, right? And then you snap out of it and realize, of course, porn's not real, right? So most people recognize it. But on the other hand, I think it does have long-term effects now with 45% of girls watching porn. Like they expect real sex to be like porn sex because that's what they learned. So they think, okay, I guess he's going to go there next and then he's going to wind up here.
So, okay, I love that you brought up that point, right? Because this is why it's important to have like comprehensive sex education taught, because if you're not teaching your kids sex education and they're relying on pornography, because they're going to watch pornography no matter what. If they have access to a computer, they will see it. If they use pornography as their sex ed, then we have a problem. Then I think it has a much larger impact on the sexual behavior of young people.
Right. We need comprehensive sex ed so they learn that not every sex act ends in a facial.